Folks, thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting this channel. If you enjoyed this video and you have not subscribed, please do so and click on the notification bell. And if you are subscribed, please check to make sure you still are. The algorithm is aggressively removing subscribers at an alarming rate. I also thank you for the super thanks, folks, and promise to answer each and every one I receive. Help us keep fighting to save pop culture because the forces of wokeness are stacked against us. Thanks for watching, and now, on to the video. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and today I bring you a leak regarding the Season 1 plot of The Acolyte. Now, for those of you who have been following the saga of this obscure and troubled production, you know that The Acolyte has been as hard to pin down as a cloud. It's real, it's not real, it's happening, it's not happening, it started filming, it's not filming. This thing is like Schrodinger's project, both alive and dead simultaneously, depending on who you ask. Well, my friends, my amazing Hollywood spies have been digging deep lately, and they have found a source who claims to have knowledge of the general plot of Season 1 of The Acolyte. They have spent a lot of time with this source, and together they made a stunning discovery. The plot of The Acolyte is very similar indeed to the plot of another animated property on Netflix. In this video, I'll be going over previous reports on The Acolyte and Ahsoka that add context to this report and discuss what the future holds for Disney Star Wars on Disney+.
Disney Plus? Disney minus, I says. People need to stop watching Disney Star Wars. It's not going to get better. It's heading straight for the sequel trilogy, and that means it is dead on arrival. By now, they certainly could have signaled they were moving away from Rey and Finn and Kylo and Canto Blight and Holdo and Rose and milk-sucking cowardly traitor and surrender monkey Jake Soy Walker, but no, they just keep trudging on toward the ruination of the franchise. So until they shit-can that garbage, move along, there's nothing to see at Disney for former Star Wars fans.
This is beyond true, Harvey Cthulhu. This is nigh unto axiomatic. Disney Star Wars has been just one botched opportunity after another, alternately insulting and boring, sickening and soporific, with very little to redeem it. Which brings us to The Acolyte. At this point, I must state that what I'm about to share with you is information provided by sources claiming knowledge of the situation at Lucasfilm and/or Disney, but since I cannot personally confirm any of this, I am presenting it as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. And so, my friends, let's discuss The Acolyte. It is allegedly set in the past, about 100 years before The Phantom Menace. Now, multiple sources have told me all along that The Acolyte was a real shit show because Leslie Headland was thrown in the deep end and didn't have a clue what she was doing. I suspect she may have gotten overwhelmed by Disney's sick, twisted habit of scrapbooking, which is essentially shooting multiple branching storylines like in a video game, so that there's not just one story, but a whole shitload of stories that they can reconfigure and jumble and mix and match in the editing suite. The great problem with this scrapbooking approach is no one knows for sure what the story is going to wind up being. It ruins narrative momentum, prevents actors from committing to any direction in their performance. It's just a cut and paste approach that results in lifeless zombie storylines that lurch around without really going anywhere. That could account for why Disney Star Wars is either infuriating or sleep-inducing. In short, Disney Star Wars sucks. And from what I hear, The Acolyte may be the cherry, the dingleberry on top of this shit sundae. I am told by my Hollywood spies that there are 3 different versions of The Acolyte. I repeat, there are 3 different versions of The Acolyte. My spies have been told that so much footage has been shot at a cost of at least $300 million, and it probably exceeds that amount all told. So much has been shot There are 3 entirely different versions of the Acolyte out there. A source who claims to have seen one of these cuts of the Acolyte says it's virtually unwatchable. This source specifically stated, the Acolyte is so bad it makes Echo look like Shakespeare. Having seen a good chunk of Disney Star Wars myself, I can attest that on the surface, this seems not only plausible, but highly likely. Now, to understand what the Acolyte is allegedly aiming for, you have to look at a previous report my spies filed about Ahsoka and how that shit show ties into the Witches of Dathomir and the destruction of the Force and George Lucas's entire galaxy far, far away. On September 2nd, 2023, I received this scoop about where Ahsoka was headed. Quote, "We believe this may be one of the biggest stories we've ever reported on. As we understand it, the entire point of Acolyte is to in fact remake Star Wars in KK's image. Unfortunately for Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland has been completely incompetent, but as we've discovered, KK had a plan B that has been in the works all along and is now being implemented through Ahsoka. Here's the breakdown of the Acolyte as we understand it. Allegedly, the Acolyte Season 1 was basically going to kill the Force as we know it, therefore killing the George Lucas version of Star Wars. Acolyte Season 2 was supposed to be the rebirth of the Force and be more magic-based and very female. The only time men would wield this new Force is if they were baddies. I'm simplifying the Acolyte, but that's the basics. Now, as for Dave Filoni and his role. As we've told you previously, we were told that Dave made a deal with KK that he would do her bidding if she let Ahsoka come back. Our newest information on this is the whole purpose for the Veil of the Force was to in fact bring Ahsoka and only Ahsoka back. But KK saw a way to use that to get what she wanted, and allegedly Dave cooked up the whole thing. Using the veil to go back in time to fix Star Wars as a smokescreen to make fans watch Ahsoka while using the show itself as the replacement of Acolyte. Here's how Ahsoka will do what the Acolyte couldn't. Morgan Elsbeth, played by Diana Lee Inosanto, is supposed to be the last of a dead group called Witches of Dathomir. Morgan has told the Dark Jedi/Sith that are helping her that Thrawn calls to her he's trapped in another universe, but this is a bait and switch. Thrawn is there, but so is the rest of the Witches of Dathomir. Opening this universe will not only release Thrawn, but the witches as well. Allegedly, this will be the cliffhanger that Ahsoka will end on. You see, the plan is for the fans to demand to see what's happening next, but let's just say the series is so far not setting the world on fire. Season 2 will see the witches basically cast a spell that kills the Force because not only the Jedi, but the Sith are the only people that can defeat the witches. And casting the spell makes the witches even stronger than before, and only females would wield this magic. Therefore, remaking the Star Wars universe, the Force is female and in KK's image. So if everything we've been told is correct, the Ahsoka show itself is one of, if not the biggest bait and switches ever, and possibly the biggest fuck you I win to the fans. Unquote. Alright, and that leads us to the plot of one of the cuts of the Acolyte. Though of course bear in mind this is just a rumor, and they have tons of footage available, so this may change by the time it airs, assuming it ever airs at all. But here's what I was told. Quote, Acolyte. This show seems to be complete chaos. We have finished our conversation on this with our source, and according to this source, it is very similar to Arcane. The short version. The Acolyte is based about two sisters that lose their parents in a fight. It is not clear what the fight is over, but they are both raised by a man they call Uncle. This uncle turns out to be a fallen Jedi who started having doubts about the Jedi, and this uncle is now trying to be recruited by a Sith or Dark Jedi, unquote. Now to clarify, the source was not clear about the exact status of this individual, whether he was an actual Sith or just kind of a Sithy kind of dark side guy, like Balin in Ahsoka. The report continues, quote, Uncle and the Dark Sith ultimately come into conflict when Uncle refuses to commit to the dark side. The two men fight, unquote. Now, it's my understanding after a conversation with my spies that during this battle, the younger sister happens to have a sphere that could be a thermal detonator or some other kind of bomb. Sounds a bit like Arcane, doesn't it? The younger sister, trying to help her guardian win the fight, tosses the bomb into the fray. The report continues, quote, The uncle is killed in the fight and somehow the older sister is captured and thrown in jail, blamed for the bomb incident, and the younger sister is adopted by the Sith/Dark Jedi and raised in the dark arts. Years later, there's a gang of so-called terrorists running around making trouble, and the little sister is involved with them. A Jedi and his female Padawan are sent to investigate the terrorist incident. The Padawan happens to discover a peculiar gang sign that these terrorists evidently use. The Jedi goes off to follow up on one thread, while the Padawan follows up on this gang sign. It leads her back to the older sister who is in jail. The older sister convinces the Padawan that she knows something key about the gang sign, but will only reveal it if the Padawan gets her out of jail. The Padawan uses her Jedi Master's authority to get this girl released, and then the older sister reveals that she knows the gang sign because it's something her little sister used to draw. The older sister thought her younger sister was dead, but now she's not sure. Meanwhile, surprise, surprise, the older sister and the Padawan girl fall in love because we gotta have that gay angle. Put a chick in it, make her gay, make it lame. I wonder, did the South Park guys get to see the Acolyte before us? Anyway, while this teen love affair is going on, and I am told that the Acolyte is basically full of CW soap opera level quality crap like this, the older Jedi Master finds out who killed the people from the so-called terrorist strike. The Jedi and the Sith/Dark Jedi meet. The younger sister follows her adopted dad, the Dark Sith, to this meeting. The Jedi Master says to the Sith, you either give up your adopted daughter, who is the prime miscreant here, or you'll face the entire Jedi Order, and so the Sith agrees, but only on his terms. The younger sister is horrified by this thing that she regards as a betrayal. Men are constantly letting her down in her life, uncle, and now her adopted guardian, and so she resolves that men are bad, Jedi are bad, Sith are bad, and thus she kills her Sithy guardian. She comes in conflict with her older sister because she didn't know her older sister was in jail and thought, when she turns up, that her older sister had betrayed her too, that she had just blown her off after all those years, unquote. So now we come to the big finish and the plot thread that leads to the creation of the Witches of Dathomir, who have been set up to kill the Force in Ahsoka. As part of her education by her Sithy guardian, the younger sister has gotten to study some ancient Sith holocrons, and in doing so she has learned the secrets of dark magic from the ancients. And in doing so, she has learned the ancient secrets of dark magic. The end of Acolyte Season 1 shows the younger sister using ancient Sith magic to kill the Jedi Council, unquote.
Killing off the whole council, eh? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's funny how these things are all kind of dovetailing towards one objective, isn't it? The destruction of the Force.
Yeah, Harvey, well, I don't know what to say. This is what we're hearing from our sources, and there is a certain amount of coherence to it, which makes me highly suspicious that this may be true. However, at this point, I am only reporting this as rumor. Folks, there you have it. Similar in many ways to the plot of Arcane, the Acolyte seems to suggest that my spy's earlier reports of Ahsoka moving to kill the Force and replace it with witch magic of the female kind may have been spot on. This is, however, only a rumor, I repeat, so please do take it with a grain of salt. But it is nevertheless an interesting rumor that seems to tie in with previously reported rumors suggesting KK's desire to kill off George Lucas's Force and replace it with gynocentric magic is all too real. That said, only time will tell. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.